Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton, Geoffrey, and Adam Ross here, as we are every Tuesday. How you doing, Adam?
I'm good. Even through the intro, I was hearing background noise, like someone's playing the drums or something. But I thought it would go away, and it's not. It's like we got a DJ tonight.
You're still hearing music?
Not really music. It's just some kind of commotion in the background. I don't know.
I hear nothing. Yeah, like, is it my house? Because I got a different set of headset on tonight, and I'm like, no, I think it's just you're marching to the beat of your own drum, buddy.
It sounds like someone is on the next floor from you playing loud music. Like that's how it's just. Yeah, it could be the noises.
Spencer, do you hear anything coming through? No. All right. Anyways, welcome to this week's program. As always, we want your participation and your input. We've got a lot of clips to look at, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different topics as we make our way around the Ontario racing scene. We'll touch upon some national business as well, and Spencer asked if we could talk about Curbgate at NASCAR this weekend, so we'll definitely touch upon the situation NASCAR found themselves in with the track at Indianapolis, and we'll talk about from the driver's side, from the promoter side, the different things they could have done there. A lot going on in the sprint car world this weekend. We'll bring you up to speed on all of that. We saw some great racing this past weekend at Sunset with the APC series, and we're excited to get back to Sauble, so we'll set those up as well. And pretty much anything else you want to talk about. And GP3R was this weekend, Adam. It was like a crazy couple of weeks we've got going on here.
The whole summer, you get off to a bit of a late start, but we're still cramming as much activity into it as we ever would. So it's been wild. And I feel very strongly we're about to invest a good chunk of time. Like we've got a lot of video clips for people to watch. And I really feel strongly, Clinton, that this could be one of the more important segments we have had on this show.
Well, you've done a lot of homework this week. And to be honest, I have flipped the switch a little bit. I'm taking the Adam Ross stance. I didn't look at any of it. So this is all going to be fresh to me, and you're going to lead us through this, and we'll debate it as we normally will. So welcome, everybody, here. And, G-Force on the road, as we mentioned, we were on the road last week. We got it coming up this week live from Sauble Beach, and we'll talk about that coming up. But first off, let's jump into some choices, Adam. These are some clips just from, I guess it's over the last couple of weeks, right? You set it up. Take it away.
Yeah, here's what I wanted to do, and it's for two reasons, okay? People have so many opinions on the internet. Anyway, it's not just on the internet, but that's where we see them all because we spend so much of our time looking into our phones. And it's time to put the responsibility back to two places where I don't think we're leaving it often enough. In the hands of the drivers and in the hands of the officials. And these videos we're going to watch, I am not throwing anybody under the bus. I want to watch some really exciting racing. And when it's done, and I think it's like 10 minutes of video clips, Clint. When it's done, I want to go back and have conversations. But when you watch this, folks, think about the choices a driver has to make. A driver gets to make. It's their choice how they want to race the people around them. How you race people around you is often how you're raced in return. It comes down to an official. To make a call, we're not even getting right or wrong. Just whether the official call or not. Spencer, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit, Ab. So let me ask you a question. Are we going to discuss these clips as we watch them, or are we just going to let them roll from start to finish and come back at the end?
Okay, you know what? Start to finish, as always, we can talk over them and through them. But yeah, let them go. Let them run.
All right, so we're watching for choices. Let it roll, Spencer.
To that lap.
Scott Wood looks pretty comfortable out there in the lead. Freddie Carlson having to work around that page, that slower car. Kind of had to pinch his line off a little bit. Don't think he liked that too much. He lost a couple of car lengths there, but now we're getting into some heavier traffic. Scott Wood going to have to get up off the bottom of the racetrack the advantage to Freddie is he has run all over the racetrack so far in this race.
Yep, we are definitely going to be getting a race now for that lead, as there is lap cars and they are all on the bottom. That's where Scott Wood's been running this whole race. The anxiety levels in that 38's definitely got to be raising a tiny bit.
Well, and he's so committed to the bottom line, he'll hesitate a little bit, hoping the opportunity presents itself. Dylan Davidson in the 73, he's running a good line.
Wood does a good job there to get to the inside. Might have gave a tiny little shot to the 73 at Davidson. Tell him I'm the leader. I'm here, kid. Time to let me by a little bit as Davidson.
So what we're watching here, Clint, is a battle for the lead on a prestigious dirt race. Scott Wood took about 4 turns to get around Davidson. Freddie Carlton did it.
Yeah, 38 here's lead, and he's working his way through lap traffic around these. The 21 will be a lap car here.
Now Wood goes to the high side, opens up the door for Carlton on the lap car. We're going to have them back.
What's the choices?
Turn 1. Oh, big time door turn in. Freddie that time is the loser on that one. Wood's going to keep the lead. That's going to get the nerves worked up in the 96 of Carlton, and he's going to be working back down on the 38 of Scott Wood. Watch for maybe a little bit of retaliation with the front bumper if he can get to him.
Don't make the Freddie angry. Fred Carlton.
So that angle didn't even do. Freddie Carlton almost got redirected headlong into the guardrail going into turn 1, battling for the lead. And Scott Wood said after the race, almost nonchalantly, I didn't want to give up the bottom. And the bottom had already been given up, and Freddie got in there. And choices made. I mean, Scotty slammed the door shut. No officiating. The show goes on. Go right into the next one, unless, Clinton, you've got something to say about that.
No, that was hard racing. Obviously, yeah, he just wasn't going to give up the inside, as he said in the post race. Roll the next one, Spencer.
Down the back straightaway on the 49 of Bailey. Hale in the 79 trying to get to the outside of Beagle is now 24.
This is the closing laps of a street stock race that pays $3,000 to win. $3,000 for a street stock race on dirt. And I want you to count how many times these 2 leaders, in fact, count how many times these 5 leaders make contact in the last 5 laps.
Hanley doing a great job. If you're going to find a run, it's definitely going to be 1 out of 3 and 4. The money corners now. Bailey tucks it back in behind the 53 of Hanley. He's content to watch him for a little bit more. Maybe hold it for a couple laps and try something right at the end.
Might have been a little bit of bumper tag between the leader and second place Bailey, or Bailey trying to get a gap there to drive it deep into turn 3 and try to get a run off of 4, but not much doing. He's pedaling as hard as he can from the looks of it. Ryan Beagle closing in as well in that 3rd spot.
3 to go this time by. Hanley slides up just a little bit in the middle of 1 and 2. Bailey tried to get it open. Bailey has to tuck back in into 3 and 4. Coming down this time. Parallel popsicle sticks in the air. It's 2 to go for the 53 of Hanley.
Hanley holding a pretty wheel.
To put this into perspective, there's not an APC race, and I'm not disrespecting the APC. There's not an APC race this year that pays this much money to win.
White flag's going to be in the air this time.
Maybe the last race of the year, but
payday. Craig Hanley really hoping to hold on. Bailey's going to try to give her one.
At any time, any one of these drivers in the top 5 could have sailed off into the turn without braking and cleared their own path.
To go, Adam, call her home.
Dave Bailey losing some ground as Craig Hanley leads the way. Bailey going to sail it in on the high side, looking for a Hail Mary, but it's not there. Craig Hanley takes the win. Bailey 2nd, Beagle 3rd, Hale 4th, Bomberry.
Wow, some great racing there at Humberstone lately.
I mean, you have to respect what they were. Everyone, would you disagree, Clinton? Everyone in that top 5 at some point could have just sailed on in, created chaos to try to steal a $3,000 paycheck.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing you see when we get all the best of the province together, and it's been the biggest thing here on dirt lately is they are all coming to these big races, and everybody is getting around. And everybody, I think, Adam, mostly in that class, they're all running good at everybody else's speedway, which nobody really has a dominant. It's not unlike to see Shaw come down and win or Justin Ramsey or one of those guys go down the other end. But you're right. They chose to race clean, even though you'd think they'd be dumping each other for the cash.
And they don't. Now, part of that is because these guys are going to race with each other 30 times this year. But still, the choice is on the drivers. When we watch this next clip, which I hope is the super stocks from Sunset,
Garrett Temersma's the race leader. He sets the pace to the restart. Now, I'm thinking he probably regrets taking off. If he'd have checked up, slowed down, they probably would have waved off the start because I think Tom Walters pulled a fast one on him. But watch everything that goes on from that point on. And again, put yourself in each driver's seat and think, what would I do in this situation? What decision am I going to make? I got a pack of cars bearing down on me. Is this how I want to play this out? Not disrespecting any driver, but you can see how it goes. Spencer, let's roll it.
Trying to pick up the pace just a little down into turn number 3. Up the racetrack a little, the end of the restart box off of turn number 4. See if they let that one go. Walters with a slight advantage down the front straightaway. They're pretty even down into 1 and 2. Walters up on the high side of the racetrack now. The red line signs Apparel B&B Towing, 47 machine. Trying to take the top spot away from Garrett Temersma. These two got into it in heat race action earlier this afternoon. Here comes Zardo now. Zardo looking to make it 3 wide. Walters able to get away, kick clear of Temersma. But Temersma going to get shuffled back. Here comes Zardo now to the inside. The Besters Forest Products, Leslie Ford Motors, TJM Construction, 36 machine. Up to second now. He'll set his sights on the 47 of Walters at the front of the field. Temersma with the bumper gets into the back of Zardo, looking to take second spot back. Everyone a little bit.
And part of the reason, Clint, I wanted to show this is to show how darn good the racing has been at so many places.
Side-by-side contact down the front straightaway, and Temersma hard to the inside retaining wall, back up the racetrack. Everyone able to avoid him. That will draw the caution.
You know, this came up at the APC drivers meeting. Alex Nagy said a piece. It comes down to decisions you make behind the wheel of a race car. And what we just watched were decisions made. We have a look at this replay. I don't think Garrett liked that Lane Zardo made it 3 wide. Got into him the previous corner, got into him there. As Zardo came off the corner, tried to move Garrett down the track. Garrett wasn't having it.
You know what I took out of that, Adam, is when I watched it live, it looked like it was mostly on Zardo when they came off of 4 or initially. But when you see it that way, you see that the whole thing started a few laps earlier, and Garrett did take a few pokes at, Lane, and it's just hard racing. But you're right, like 3 wide, great action. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm proud of what we're doing here with what we're providing on G-Force is a lot of fans who maybe would never get to go to Sunset, not because they're anti-pavement or whatever. They're just doing other things. They're Flamborough people or maybe Merrittville guys or, people from the States. They're seeing what great action is going on. And I've been a fan of Sunset from the first time I went there. I know what you asked me. It's a great track. I mean, it feels like you're right on top of it. It's a great bull ring. It's like 3 lanes wide in the turns at least. And the racing is great there. It sucks for both those guys because those guys were fitting to put on a great show with Stomp and Tom. But at the end of it, Garrett was out, and it just didn't work out the way they obviously wanted it to happen that day.
No, and again, if you ride along in the car in your mind, I think Lane came through 3 and 4, put his car in a great position to defend against Garrett, right? Put the number 36 right on the right front of Garrett's car. So no matter which way Garrett went, if he tried to push him up, it wasn't going to work. If he didn't, Lane could try to position him down. It's hard racing. At any time, either of those drivers could have made different choices. Either lift it a little bit or separate from the other. And they didn't. And as it turns out, Temersma crashes into the inside wall. He was able to rebound. In all these cases, I don't know if the officials made a call on the 36 or if the 36 just pitted during that caution because Lane came in for service under that yellow. They both restarted at the back. So in all these cases, Clinton, if you're the official watching these races go on, for one, if you're watching that street stock race at Humberstone, you're congratulating the drivers on a job well done, right? You're praising them for an amazing race. If you're watching that modified race, you're keeping a close eye on Freddie Carlton because that was probably the freebie that Scott Wood gets. And I think if Freddie could have got, he probably would have roughed him up pretty good to win that race. And you sort of say, okay, tit for tat, as long as it doesn't get out of hand, you're going to watch, make sure that doesn't escalate. But it's on your mind. In this Sunset situation, there was hard feelings all day long and in different moments, right?
Yes.
The the last clip we're going to watch. Go ahead.
I just want to comment. You talked about right on the start before we watched the clip, and Tom Walters was edging one out, and that comes down to a couple things. I think if you're the pole sitter and you know that the track is typically lenient on letting that stuff go, you kind of just got to go with it, even if you get snookered. If you know they're usually a one that'll call it back, you're going to really lay off and make it more apparent what's going on the outside lane. So I think it comes down to you got to know who's in the tower and their tendencies a bit too when it comes down to choices and gamesmanship in the middle of the situation.
So what Garrett did there that I saw, as soon as and Spencer, I'm going to ask you to play the first 10 seconds of that clip again, but not just yet. As soon as the pace truck comes off the track, Garrett accelerates. Not a lot, just a little bit. And what that'll do is get the whole field playing catch up, and it'll make it accordion. They have to speed up and then slow down to get to his speed. Tom Walters, the veteran that he is, didn't speed up as fast as Garrett did, but he never slowed down. So Garrett is setting the pace down in the corner, accelerates, slows down to bunch the field up, which is something you see in NASCAR all the time. Tom Walters isn't having it, so he lets Garrett get going, and as Garrett's backing off, Tom is on the throttle, and by the time they get to turn 4, Tom's flat out. Tom is at full speed, headed up towards the wall, and Garrett's still trying to catch up. So watch that again. Spencer, roll it.
Trying to pick up the pace just a little down into turn number 3. Up the racetrack a little, the end of the restart box.
See, Tom's already a fender ahead and accelerating. I guess I should have clipped that video. I should have had Spencer. I should have requested a couple seconds before that, because you see Garrett speed up and slow down, but Tom had him snookered from the start. So if you're Garrett, you're already pissed off. The next lap, someone makes it 3 wide on the inside. Like, you went from leading the race to now almost being out of the top 3. So when you put things into perspective, see here, Lane was just pinching him down, had him in a great spot. No matter what happened, Garrett was going to come out on the short end of that stick. So the last clip, and then we'll get the comment, and I'll talk about why the purse in the APC doesn't even matter, but we'll get to that. Shows this is one of those mark my words. I'm going to come back and say I told you so at some point this summer, but we have not yet seen the repercussions of not making the easiest call an official could ever make. Go ahead and roll it, Spencer.
Slid up the racetrack a little bit in 3 and 4, but we've got to keep our eyes on this battle. Shepherd really rolling the center well right now in that APC number 7, keeping the pressure high on Raphael Lessard.
Yeah, you're right. He does close in the middle of the corners on the 80. And unfortunately, when he gets there, the back bumper of the 80 is there. Now he might have touched him as he tucks a nose underneath. Raphael Lessard looking for the lead.
Bumper still there, still there.
Lessard might not want to hear it, but he's hearing it. But the 7 car is there. Shepherd drives down into the turn. Lessard still able to come off a little bit better, but Shepherd has position.
Again, Lessard now the one trying to pin
Awesome racing, though.
on the inside, almost to that
Oh, yeah.
strip, and Shepherd will take the lead. Now look at that contact into 1 and 2, and around goes the APC 7 on Pete Shepherd.
Oh, Shea Gemmel, you didn't want to stop there. Gemmel slides to a stop on the inside in the grass.
He definitely did it on purpose.
Dave Jacobs voicing his opinion on what he felt he saw at first glance. And
So we're not going to show it all, Clinton, but the yellow comes out and the race carries on. Shepherd goes to the back because he came into pit. Raphael Lessard goes on to win the race.
This is a debate we had back to when you first started being the announcer for that series, and it became the Canadian Tire Series. We were working at Jukasa, and we worked at the short tracks every night. I was on pit road. You were in the grandstand, and I don't remember who it was, but they dumped second place. They dumped the leader, all within 5 laps. Like, just blatant ran through them. Worse than that one. Got away with it, and I was in victory lane interviewing them at the end. I'm like, what? What's that? Like, how does that happen? At what racetrack do you get to drive through? And I mean, I grew up in the hood with some badass guys, and I said to you that night, I said, if that's the case, I'm bringing a 12th place car. We're going to drive through everybody every week, and we'll fight our way back to the hood. I said, that's ridiculous that they let that go. This is something that's been allowed to go on for forever, Adam. So, I mean, is it? I don't think it's that incident in general. I mean, it's been not necessarily a dig, and you're the one that told me this. So maybe you're not drinking the Kool-Aid anymore or what it is, but you're the one that told me back then NASCAR's winner has to be the one that crosses the checkered flag first for media purposes and all the other things. So if you take that checkered flag, you're the winner. They'll strip you with points or fines or other stuff, but whoever takes the checkered flag is the winner. Mm-hmm. So
it's the NASCAR
that's nothing
way.
New. It's nothing new, you know.
Now, and there were different situations there. You're talking about Jukasa when Caden Lapsevich won the race. Went through.
No, this was way before Caden. This was way before Caden. Okay. This is like JR would have been a rookie back then. Like we're talking 15 years ago, maybe.
Probably Kerry Mix.
It was a long time ago. But I think the other point, there was a lot of comments that came about after that race at Sunset and said that, you know, in a 200-lap race, you have to come back past this guy a few more times, and it would typically police itself because you know you're going to see that guy 2 or 3 times through pit stop cycles and stuff like that. So you mind your P's and Q's a bit better. When it's down to a 75 or 100-lap race in the new format that we're stuck with because of COVID, maybe they need to bring in the short track officiating. And those are outside comments from some participants who were wrapped up in that, right? We don't need to name names, but basically that was some of the feelings that were brought back in. And I can understand that a little bit, like if it can police itself over 200 laps, but you can't let them just beat up on each other for 75 because there's no time for it to kind of be handled, you know?
There's no reason to let that go. It's early enough in the race that people can rebound from it. Pete Shepard had beat the shit out of Rafael Lessard's back bumper, lap after lap after lap. So what? Like if someone's hitting your back bumper, they're not going by you. As soon as Shepard makes the pass, Rafael goes in and gets him in the left rear corner, lifts the car up in the air and spins him around. As soon as you let that happen, right? Let's go back to the choices people make in their cars. And every choice that all those drivers made. Let's go back to Humberstone, Clinton. $3,000 to win on the line. If those drivers all know, look, the official's not going to make a call no matter what I do. Is it worth it to move someone for $3,000? Spin someone for $3,000? Heck yeah. These are the choices these Pinty Series drivers are going to make for the rest of the season. Kevin Lacroix, you don't have to dirty Kevin Lacroix for him to want to get you back. Kevin Lacroix saw what happened at that race, and I guarantee you he knows that he gets a free spin.
Yeah.
At some point this year, if he's running second, he knows that it's okay to turn the leader because Rafael Lessard showed that it's okay. The officials did nothing. They can't say they didn't get a good look at it, Clinton, because we know that they got a good look at it. It's bad precedent. It's poor practice, and it's going to come back and bite them, and we're going to do a segment on it later this year. I love NASCAR. Like, it's not that I drink the Kool-Aid, but I think there was a long time where they were putting on such phenomenal presentations across our country. Some things have changed, but car counts are coming back up. I thought Sunset was great racing, but they better get this under control or it's going to be mayhem.
All right.
That's my thought. But how exciting is that racing? Humberstone, Sunset. Well, I guess a lot of it was Sunset and a lot of it was Humberstone. We're seeing that everywhere we go. Fantastic battles. Well-behaved drivers. Solid officiating with one series exception, but they've got to sort that out. I want to talk about the comments that we've been getting while we've been running these features, and I love hearing people's comments. Clinton, is there anything you want to talk about?
No, keep rolling.
Okay. So APC, I mean, that $3,000 to win is probably more than some Pinty's races pay to win as well, but it's a different model. APC, as its coverage continues to improve, as it continues to get more notoriety, keep packing the stands like they did at Sunset Speedway. Keep showing the streams like they do and getting viewers for that. You want to get to the point where it's normal for teams to have six-figure sponsorships. There are teams that have no sponsor dollars doing that series out of their pocket. But you get to a point where the prize money, you cannot reward the cost of a race car in prize money. The Oswego Speedway Classic in the mid-1980s paid $20,000 to win. I don't think it pays $10,000 now. Think about that. 30 plus years later, the same race with infinitely more expenses pays less to win than it did in the mid-1980s. So you can't, just because people are going out and spending themselves crazy, you don't reward that. The crate sprints are a perfect example of it, Clinton.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing we fought. We fought to keep the cost down at every turn. And, from a promoter standpoint, you're like, we never promised when you get to 100 cars we were going to pay through the roof. I mean, you guys are building knowing what the purse is. So that helps us keep it where it needs to be as well. And what happens is if you start throwing major money at those types of sportsman-esque classes, you have all your top dollar teams coming down and pilfering and beating up on the smaller teams, and it doesn't really work out. So, that's just why we try to keep it the way it is.
You won't see a better late race than we saw at the Speedway in that APC show. Now, Delaware, had a great 75-lap special event that was not APC. Flamborough Speedway, Steel Triple Crown, they had a super clean race. Sean Chenoweth told us all about that. So it can be done, but I'm saying that series can put on phenomenal racing. Those drivers can put on phenomenal racing. You have to set the tone. And the drivers' meeting at Sunset Speedway absolutely set the tone that we expect more from you drivers, and you should expect more from yourselves. And they went out there and an amazing show.
Yeah, it was great to see a packed house. I saw Brian Todish at the end of the night. We were cleaning up. He said, wow, what a crowd here tonight. So great to see everybody back and supporting Sunset and all their efforts. And let's talk about this weekend at Sauble. Adam, we're heading up to the beach. They've got a doubleheader coming up. We'll be covering everything starting at 6 p.m. live from the beach. And I think, I am super excited to get back there with our crew after knowing what we were able to bring to the show last year. Knowing how we're going to set up, I think we're a lot more pumped to get back there. I was looking at the overhead shots today, and we're excited to bring that coverage. We saw Jordan House get out and win it on the weekend. We saw Dale Shaw run good. Was it a changing of the guard? Is it, but the bottom line here is we're seeing so many competitive cars. It's not any but one driver running away with it. I think when we get up there for double headers, that also will play into the drivers' heads a little bit because, you kind of got to make sure you have a car to get through the second night of points later on in the evening. So it's going to be interesting.
How about the support classes? Modifieds and hot rods. That whole show, if you don't take a trip up to Sauble Speedway, I hope you go to any racetrack this weekend, but that's going to be a fantastic show. And I want to thank you, Clinton, and the people watching for letting me show those clips, because I think it was a chance to both show off what people are missing if they're not going to the races, but people are going to the races in great numbers. The crowds have been solid. I know it took a lot of time, but mindset, it matters throughout the season. We're going to keep focusing on it week after week. And this weekend, you should go to Sauble, unless you're going to Brighton or Flamborough that's back in action after having a week off.
Yeah, we got a lot of Saturday stuff going on. Mike C. just asked how they're running the double headers. I have it here in front of us because Spencer sent it to us. We're going to be live at 6 p.m. with the Oscar Hot Rod Heat races, followed by the Modified Heat races, then APC group qualifying. Then we'll jump into opening ceremonies, and then we'll have the the AP Emissions Technology 75 presented by Quaker State. So it'll be the APC race first, then Hot Rod feature, Modified feature, and then the second Stewart's 75 with the second APC race there. So we'll cap it off.
Do we know how they're lining up the second race?
This just says no, it doesn't say. It says green flag, maximum 26 cars to start. That's all. But this was
Could
just
be any
a
number of ways.
time schedule. Anything else you want to jump in before we move on from APC and Sobel?
No, I already own the first half hour. The rest of the show is yours.
Oh, all good. Knights of Thunder, we have a race going on. It'll be the rained out Brighton date. I think this is take 3 for Brighton. We were already pre-booked to be at Sobel Beach, so we were trying to get at least a light camera crew out there to capture that for all the sprint car fans Saturday at Brighton. It's just the Knights of Thunder and the Brighton home classes. The Action Sprint Tour kicks off their first visit, Adam, this far east. It's full point shows at Brockville, Cornwall for the first time. And there's about 10 drivers from Brockville and Quebec combining to add to the 15 or 20 drivers that are going to come from the West here. So we're excited to see the results from that. We're sending staff to both events, and even though we can't be with them, we'll be watching those from afar. So it's exciting to see the sprint cars here from the Weekend in Ontario end of things really start to blossom out. Crates are really taking off, and this weekend's going to be a good showing for them. A bit of a Ironman series for them this year, Adam, with COVID. We understood that, the crates, it would be tough for some of the teams to go down. We're still working on some sponsorship programs that we may be able to get together to help with some extra travel cash for the teams. And I'm hoping to announce something there in the next day or so. But the crate teams, Adam, your thoughts on them going to Brockville, Quebec. It's exciting to see, a group of drivers being built down there.
It really is, and I think when our racers go down there, it'll kind of show where their teams are at. Like you say, with the Hoosier stocks, Thunder stocks, Street stocks all throughout Ontario, they've kind of all leveled off. I have a feeling sprint cars from this end of the province might be a little more stout in the crates with their setups, because we're hearing people get very vocal about what they want changed in the crate sprint car rules, mostly from down that way. Well, don't change the cars, change your setups, figure out how to drive them, because you've built a series up that has 75 race cars. You're not going to change things now. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. So they're going to have to figure things out. So we'll see how quick they are.
I have some comments on that. My opinion is things have gone great. We've got 70 cars where we are. For the 2 or 3 drivers who came down from a lot higher horsepower classes who want more drive, of course you're going to feel like your car is chugging along. But that's where we are with these cars. It'd be like if you go back from the Porsche Cup back to road course go-karts, sure, when you come out of that slowest hairpin, it's going to be a lot slower with the torque. So we're pretty steadfast. We're working on a few ideas to really make sure we're hearing at all the drivers and the teams and what they want. So, but the big thing I see down in the eastern part with the crates, Adam, is the leveling of the playing field is going to come from the talent and the veterans that are jumping into the crate. So in Ontario here at Weekend, we've seen a lot of young kids like Liam Martin and Dale Curran, and those who's on Jacob Dykstra's on top of it right now. He stars a young kid. Down there, you've got Rick Wilson, Lee Ladisseur, Matt Billings, all jumping into crates. So they've got a lot of experience at Brockville, and with those cars, not with sprint cars, but with the bigger cars, you got a lot of younger kids coming up. It's going to be a great cross section of everything. And the big thing I think is any of the, fringe teams that are thinking about making the jump from crates are going to see how popular they really are when our teams roll in and travel between the 2 tracks. So we're super pumped about that, and we wish everybody good luck down there. Obviously, our G-Force team loves the sprint cars, and we wish we could be there. There's just not enough weekends and days in the week to get all these races in. GP3R, Adam, Dominic and the team down there had another great successful event, and in a year that they were told we probably weren't going to get to have GP3R, they got it in, and it looked like a pretty good, successful weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of protocols they needed to follow, but the race was fantastic. The Pinty's race was really good. Looking forward to calling that for the broadcast later this week. And man, the modifieds were unique, that's for sure. A lot of people thought it was comical watching them, but it came down to a last lap. Who was going to get it done? And that's all you can ask for.
People who maybe thought they were out of place we're probably right. I mean, obviously they're oval track dirt cars, not meant for a pavement road course, but the sheer number of sportsmen and modified teams out there that they could pull from if that event was, I don't want to say properly promoted because Dominic's one of the best guys, but I mean, some of the big wigs that we know were calling me a month ago saying, hey, did you guys even hear about this race? And we knew nothing about it. And I think a lot of guys who grew up in road course go-karts, guys like Mike Bowman and even Matt Williamson, and a lot of teams, I think, from here would go down there if they knew what a cultural type event GP3R and what if that's something like Dirt Week, but a road course through the whole town. I think all it would take is 2 or 3 of the good guys to go down there and come back and say what a party it was, and you'd have a whole contingent of Ontario guys begging Don Speaks to give that weekend off so they could all go down to Quebec and be a part of that event. So we'll watch and see if that comes back and if it gets to grow.
And unlike the worldwide mecca for racing, Indianapolis Motorway, the circuit at Three Rivers was able to withstand different types of race cars racing on it this weekend without destroying more than $1 million worth of equipment in the process.
Well, you want to jump right to that? I was going to give the Delaware fans props first, but we can get into Curbgate if you want, as Spencer called it.
Yeah, let's go straight to Curbgate. I don't like to bash things, but there's got to be a lot of pressure being on top of the world, right? Being the NASCAR, the Roger Penske, things better work. When the most trivial of things fail, and they failed on Saturday, the day before the big race, and still you stay true to the plan and run the big race on Sunday on the same layout in nearly identical cars, only that sucked even harder, and it doesn't work. Like, how can you be surprised by that?
Yeah, I can't believe, even as I watched it go down on Sunday, I'm like, oh, well, build a quick tire wall and make them go around it. Like, there had to be a quicker solution than trying to just do what they ended up doing, And I thought there were a lot of things that, I felt bad for them too, man. That's a tough situation. Kudos to the track president right down there trying to sweep up and just like, come on, guys, we got to fix this. But, yeah, it's terrible. Here, we got to look at it. And basically the splitter gets under the curb and destroys the car. I didn't know what happened. I was watching it live, and all of a sudden 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 cars all crashing out there. And it just keeps going and going and going. Like, look at them all.
Oh, yeah. The splitter is apparently attached to the drain plug on the dinghies that we call a NASCAR Cup Series car, because they pulled the drain plug and all the fluid came out of William Byron's car, and all hell broke loose. And
that's what I said to my dad. I said it looked like the night at Ranceville when the rain came and everybody just piled into turn 1 out of control.
And shit happens. So I don't mean to, but all these people that are spewing venom, again, different things about how dare you race a dirt car at GP3R, yet the pinnacle of the sport shows up the next day and has its share of problems.
And there was a lot of the NASCAR stars were not happy that they weren't doing the Brickyard 400. They were like, this is ridiculous. We come to Indy, we want to race the oval. And then so it really turned into a debacle for them at the end of the day. But, it's a new race this weekend in Michigan.
I fully support them racing the road course. The oval race at Indy, I don't think it belongs with Indy cars. I've never been a big fan of the Cup cars at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I didn't have an issue, but I'm all for new tracks and new configurations and new excitement. We've seen it work out. I mean, I love to see the road course to kick off the start of the year at Daytona. I thought that was awesome. But I've always been a fan of the Daytona road course. Let's talk about Delaware keeps it clean. This is a post that was shared by Delaware management on the weekend. As a track promoter, it's such a great thing when you can get in, and it basically just said kudos to the teams in the infield. Show the picture of Spencer. They did a great job keeping everything clean. Not a speck of garbage anywhere, and that's just amazing. Like, good job on Delaware fans and teams, showing you respect the sport, you respect the owner's commitment, and that just proves that's going to make the management work even harder, Adam, next week, knowing how much you respect and appreciate what they're doing.
I couldn't agree more.
All right. Flash fire at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. We'll jump into this one, Adam. They've been running their stream down there. This was a situation that I saw. I think it was Dusty DeBoer shared it on one of the message boards early in the weekend and said, just goes to show you that this car had sat for a while and then out of the blue, a fire. You shared it to the message board. Anything you wanted to add to that, Adam, that I'm missing?
No, just take it in. I think a message to any racers who are watching. When you get in this situation, like when you're in an incident, leave your belts on, leave your safety gear on. Don't be too quick to start peeling off safety gear.
Good point. I think the video glitches, doesn't it, Adam?
At the worst possible moment.
So he's stopped here. And look how long just sitting there. Got me what? 20?
And I mean, the safety crew is there fast. Right? That first safety worker was there while cars were basically still rolling.
Let's talk about how important it is for safety crew to have the right gear on, because look at that.
The safety worker gets thrown off the back of the truck. So I'm sure if it was the race car driver being helped there or if it was the safety worker that had flown off the back of the truck that's getting help there.
Holy shit, did everybody see that? Whoop.
Wild stuff there. And yeah, it's a good point, Adam. Keep your stuff on until you know you're all good. And, look at that safety worker. How many times we see somebody roll up in a T-shirt or like a quarter worker official shirt that's made of nylon that is just going to melt to your body also, right? So important to have all your right gear on at all times.
Totally.
Couple more incidents. There was a wild crash at Humberstone on the weekend. Show the aftermath of that. Whatever we got of it, Spencer. Yeah, so I believe it's Nathan Peaty over the wall there, and there's still catch cable in the fence and everything, so over the first barrier at Humberstone, but we didn't catch it on video, but what a wild shot that is, Adam. And I've seen that at Maryville, too. That's scary when it's coming at you. Imagine being the flagman.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's a good sturdy flag stand. It's a good high flag stand, but still, that's got to get your attention.
Yeah.
And I feel terribly for Nathan Peaty. There was a heartfelt post that his wife made. See, we already had a comment in the messages. I believe they've put together a GoFundMe to help get them back on track. And I feel badly that people have pounced on it, saying it's in poor taste or they shouldn't have done it. And I say, Clint, you know what? If quite often, if you don't ask for help, you don't get help. Right? And I don't pick on someone for how they choose to go and get sponsors. If they want to do that GoFundMe, then by all means, they should do that GoFundMe. I thought some of the tone in the post that was put on Facebook, because it talks about the track, a crash that never should have happened. And the only way to avoid crashing in racing is to not race.
I was going to say that. There isn't many ways to get it done. Where are we going to go from here? I think we got one more wild situation, Adam, and then we'll jump into our Thompson video of the week. This is a situation that's hard to watch, as you mentioned. It's just shaky video, but there's so much going on. And this was a viewer sent this to actually through Greg Callan to us. So if you got something you want us to talk about or analyze, send it to us. We'll go over it. This is a late model race in Belleville, somewhere in the States. And a late model's upside down. So I'm trying to set up the whole scene. A late model's upside down. Some people are in there trying to help the late model. Some people are mad at the driver who apparently caused it. And we only know that because they're all trying to get in the car and fight him. There's people all around the scene. So this could have been easily a terrible situation had the car burst into flames like we saw at Psalms in that last video. People all around, just out of control. So play this, and we'll have to watch this a couple times to analyze it properly, but run it. I think we're already into this one, Spencer. Can
No,
you
that's
start
where it
racing
starts.
again? Oh, really? So
That's where I saw it start. So I
So you
can't
got-
see where the upside down car is.
it's in the back there, and I don't know whether I've seen it from another angle or what, but the driver's out
I
of the
see
car.
the tire.
He's in there trying to get in there. There's other people trying to flip that car over. And there's just crowd and crew and safety people, and they're fighting. And it's just, this is a situation where the track has just let it get so far out of hand that something real bad is going to happen.
And no track worker has had the wherewithal to hit the kill switch on the master kill switch on these cars. Because as you can hear, that car is still running. All these people around it. This one's upside down, being flipped back on its wheels. And
Everybody
the one
in
sitting there
t-shirts.
that everyone's, yeah.
You know,
What?
and they're still trying to fight the driver that's sitting inside this car who doesn't want to get out. And it just keeps going and going and going.
It's endless.
See, I thought I saw a whole different video.
Oh, is that right? This is the one that I saw. And
Oh.
it just, like, I'm watching, like, this is out of control. I don't understand what's even happening.
Yeah. Craziness. We need to leave you on a
Craig's-
good note. Go ahead.
Craig Smolders, thank you for that video. I didn't realize that's whose video it was, but we just got a comment. So, Craig, thanks for shooting that video at Southern Ontario. It's good lessons for everybody. I love what we get to share, Clinton. There's so much to talk about that there's great stuff happening everywhere. And I don't remember this being the case last year. Like last year, it was spoon-fed the racing that we got because everyone was in the same spot week after week. This year, there's lots going on, and I've missed it.
Just want to mention, if you're a Thunderstock racer, we're hearing that Henry at Southern Ontario Motor Speedway is paying more money this week. And an effort, Merrittville has the Thunderstocks off, so in an effort to attract some of the Iron Cars on Saturday, Southern Ontario Motor Speedway has increased the payout. So check that out on their websites and get all the information you need to if you want to go down there and race with them. I'm excited to get back to the beach. I really can't wait for a doubleheader up at Sauble Adam. The racing's been amazing, and like you said, our first chance to get a look at the modifieds and the hot rods this weekend live. So if you're a fan of the Oscar divisions, they'll be live on the channel with us starting at 6 p.m. from Sauble Beach.
It'll be a great show. Make the drive, head up there. If you don't have other plans, head up there, check this place out. I strongly recommend you go up real early, take a drive down past the beach, take in all the sights. Alvers, what was I supposed to share of yours?
Yeah, if you can figure that out, let us know. I'm actually going to go a couple days early and take in the beach with the wife and kids, and it should be good. So we're excited to get down there and relax a bit.
I'm working on a project, Clinton, because I know that our core fans miss my commercials being on every one of our streams.
Really?
I no longer sell Hino trucks. I've been getting a lot of fan mail about it. But in seriousness,
Going to be I'm Adam Ross and I'm tired.
Oh, listen to this. I want to start working on a project. I am working behind the scenes on a project to convince my employer, Cal Tire, that motorsports is a place where they should invest money.
Of course.
As an advertiser, as a sponsor. I want to put together how many people within our industry. Now, keep in mind, I leased a Chevrolet pickup truck from GM Paillet in Quebec because I was so pleased with what they did for Scott Steckley Racing and Marc-Antoine Cameron. Like, I'm very supportive of people who support racing. I want to list and actually start to crunch numbers on people who are involved in racing who buy tires. And this would Marvin Freiberger, Costco haulage. Like, the list is going to be enormous, and I want to start to work a dollar figure to it, and I want to start to put a business plan together to help attract some of these businesses who burn tires to get involved with a business that will pay back into racing. So this is the start of it. It's something that I'm serious about. I'm going to start doing a workup. Example, Darren Peters. Is that not Peters Construction and Peters Trucking? And
Yep.
for example, those businesses probably spend $200,000 a year on tires. And I wonder, no, and so to answer Don's question, no, we're not going to sell tires to the racers, but we do sell tires to the people who sponsor the race, the people like Marvin Freiberger who race, and the people like Peter Auction who spend a ton of money on tires. We scratch each other, not scratch each other's backs, but you put yourself into that pool, which Clinton, we're already in. For example, we would never buy hats or websites or clothing or anything from a company not involved in motorsports.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to go to an auction if it's not Brian's auction to buy something.
The one thing I always tell all our potential sponsors, our and marketing partners is racers, if you're involved in racing and the racers need your product or service, you're always going to get the first call. So if your prices are too high or service is garbage, yeah, you're not going to get the business, but they're going to try you first. They'll call your number first if they know you're in the business, and fiercely loyal is the best adjective we can get for our fans and participants. You know, the other thing is I've always said that too. You know, to be in this sport, most of the people involved have a business, involved in a business. You know, it's everybody. It's a major network on every level, so we can definitely uplift each other.
And how many security systems did you install in racer shops?
Of course.
And places of business.
Yep. Oh, Dad couldn't have raced if we didn't, if we didn't know the barter system very well. That's what a lot of stuff gets done. But
so think about it. Message me, and I'm gonna keep this going in future shows, Clinton, because I'm very serious about it. I think there's a big business model to be made.
All right, we'll wrap things up. This is our Thompson Photography highlight video of the week. It's a wrap-up from Sunset Action. We'll be live this weekend at Sauble. If you're down anywhere in the neck of the woods, make sure you follow the series that we are supporting and covering. And if you're too far down the east, don't forget Brockville, Cornwall this weekend for the crates, Brighton Saturday, and all the other awesome tracks happening this weekend. We'll be back at you with more action next week. See you Saturday. Leave you now with Thompson Photography highlight reel.
You're probably thinking, okay, now I've got to be extra aggressive here because the inside line traditionally on most tracks is where you're going to make up the most ground. But
and there's different kinds of restarters. There's those who want to get to the inside as quick as they can, but there's those who want to take where they are and always find that advantage. I have a feeling, to take Drayton Lapsevich, for example, in the 32, he's not going to look to get to the inside. He's going to look to find an open lane. We're going to fire it up one more time. Again, it looks as though he did not like the way Shepard squeezed him down in 3 and 4, so he made sure he made his own groove, not being as polite this time. Dale Shaw retakes that lead.
Adam, I got the crew chief here for Brandon Watson. Why was the 9 car in here?
We were fighting the loose conditions, so we brought him in to tighten him up. We didn't have far to go back, so got some spring rubbers, changed some stagger, and hopefully we're good to go.
So there you have it from Watson's crew chief trying to tighten up the 9, guys.
Dale Shaw and Pete Shepard still doing battle. Shepard then got back to the inside, puts Dale up on the outside. They'll go side by side through 3 and 4.
While that's happening, look at who's up there in the 3rd spot, challenging the top 2. Jordan House in that number 8 on the ride of a lifetime right now.
Jordan House is the one with just a little bit of gasoline to toss into the fire. You two mixing it up good. I'll give you a nudge too. I want to play.
And he'll slip down to the inside of Pete Shepard as Dale Shaw takes the lead away. Here comes Jordan House on the bottom side.
Dale Shaw took the outside going into 1 and 2. There got himself a great run. Shaw continues to lead the way, but it's clearly go time for these drivers.
I was going to say the first 60 lap, like you said, it was a lot of give and take. Drivers playing nice, but it's go time. 66 laps on the board. This Dayco 100, the gloves are starting to come off.
J.R. Fitzpatrick to the inside of Pete Shepard. He's looking at that third spot. He's got the spot at the line. Shepard's got to stay up on the wheel because Jake Sheridan right there. And as I say that, Shepard able to drop back in line, but he's falling back to 4.
Dale Shaw catches his breath out in front by a car length over Jordan House. Then it's J.R. Fitzpatrick, Pete Shepard, and Jake Sheridan running right now in that 5th position. Joe Lawrence on his rear deck lid. Then it's Andrew Gressel who's got Trayton Lapsevich behind him. Trayton did not get a great restart.
No, Gressel wrestled that spot away from Trayton Lapsevich. Lapsevich closing in on the back bumper now to try to get it back. Out in front, it's all Dale Shaw by about 5 car lengths over Jordan House in the number 8.
Number 81, the hood on that machine all buckled up.
Travis Halliburton tried to close the door on Connor James. James was in there, and then SSG Gloves Inside Track Motorsport News number 4. That could have been a wreck, but they were both able to save it up. Lost a little bit of ground to Gressel and Lapsevich.
71 laps on the board in the Dayco 100. It's Dale Shaw, Jordan House, J.R. Fitzpatrick, Pete Shepard, and Jake Sheridan in the top 5. Settling down after that restart now.
They are at the front of the pack, but if you look at the middles of the back, there's a lot of movement going on. Drivers who came into the pits for adjustments, trying to work their way back through the field. Grossman on the inside of Josh Toddy. Right behind him is Colton Everett here. The NTN bearings number 48.
Brandon Watson, Clinton documented him. He's still back there in that 12th spot after the changes on pit road. Definitely a frustrating evening for him because that car just does not seem to have the get up and go that we're used to.
No, it doesn't seem to, as Lapsevich again to the inside of Andrew Gressel coming off of turn number 4. Gressel able to hold him off. Ahead of them, Pete Shepard looks mighty racy behind J.R. Fitzpatrick. Here goes Joe Lawrence looking to get into the top 5.
Down to the inside of that Cameron Crane Pride Seeds number 52 as they go down into corner number 1. 2020 champion trying to get his way into the top 5 and line up behind his teammate Pete Shepard, who's now making a move on J.R. Fitzpatrick for 3rd.
Shepard able to wedge the nose of the APC number 7 to the inside of Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick gave him just Brandon Watson, the points leader, is not having a great night. Pete Shepard able to take advantage. He's up in the top 3, but Trayton Lapsevich not really taking much advantage. He's deep in this field. White flag going to come out this time by.
And lap cars right in front of the leaders battling it out as they take the white flag. House trying to hold off Dale Shaw. One more trip around Sunset Speedway.
Jordan House down into turn number 3. His first appearance this season with the APC Series. His first checkered flag. House with the win. Dale Shaw comes home 2nd. Pete Shepard 3rd. Joe Lawrence 4th. Jake Sheridan 5th ahead of J.R. Fitzpatrick, Travis Halliburton, Connor James, Trayton Lapsevich, Jordan Sims, Brandon Watson, and Andrew Gressel. Jordan Sims and Andrew Gressel rubbing it up on the last lap. What a race, what battles. That's the way short track racing is supposed to look, ladies and gentlemen. What a show here at Sunset Speedway. Jordan House getting some congratulations there in turn number 3 from the competition as Dave Franks hands him a checkered flag. He's going to make his way down to victory lane where Clinton Geoffrey is waiting. Also headed that way are Dale Shaw in the 83, Pete Shepard in the 22. It was a hard